Welcome to Statistically Speaking with Dr. E, where we turn numbers into knowledge. Today I want to talk about something that most of us interact with every single day, often without thinking much about it. And that is our social media data. Let me start with a simple question for you. Think about the last time you opened one of your social media apps, maybe Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or TikTok. What did you do? Maybe you liked a photo. Maybe you shared an article. Maybe you watched a short video or left a comment. Those actions probably felt very casual, almost automatic. But here's the interesting part. From the perspective of a data scientist or a statistician, those tiny actions are data points. And when those data points are collected over time, days, months, even years, they begin to form a detailed picture of who you are. In fact, sometimes that picture becomes more detailed than you might expect. Your online behavior can reveal what you like, what you believe, who your friends are, what your hobbies might be, and even things like your personality traits. And the reason that's possible is because modern data science is very good at identifying patterns. So today, I want to explore an important question with you. What can be learned about you through your social network data? And perhaps even more importantly, what does that mean for privacy and ethics? Let's begin with the basic idea of what we mean by social network data. When we talk about social network data, we're referring to the information generated when people interact with online platforms. That includes obvious things like the information in your profile, your name, your location, your job title, your education. But that's actually just a small part of the story. The really valuable information often comes from behavioral data. For example, what posts do you like? What videos do you watch all the way through? What kinds of articles do you share? Who do you interact with most often? Every one of those actions leaves behind a digital trace. Now, if we look at just one action in isolation, it might not tell us very much. But when you combine thousands of interactions, patterns begin to emerge. And this is where statistics and machine learning enter the picture. Let me give you a simple example. Suppose a social media platform observes that a user frequently likes posts about hiking, camping, mountain photography, and national parks. From a statistical perspective, we might reasonably infer that this person enjoys outdoor activities. Now imagine that instead of analyzing just one type of interaction, we analyze hundreds of different signals. We might analyze the time of day someone posts, the type of content they share, the people they interact with, the groups they join, and the events they attend online. Suddenly, we're not just identifying hobbies. We're building a behavioral profile. And once behavioral profiles are built at scale, across millions of users, machine learning models become extremely powerful at predicting things about individuals. For example, researchers have shown that social media activity can predict things like political preferences, religious views, personality traits, consumer habits, and mental health indicators. Now pause for a moment and think about that. You might never explicitly tell a social media platform what your personality type is, but your digital behavior might reveal it anyway. Another interesting aspect of social network data is that platforms don't just analyze what you do. They also analyze who you are connected to. This idea comes from something we call social network analysis. In statistics and data science, we often represent social networks as graphs. In a graph, people are represented as nodes, and relationships between people are represented as connections, what we call edges. Once we represent a social network mathematically, we can start calculating interesting properties of that network. For example, we can measure how connected someone is. We can measure how influential they might be, or how information flows through the network. One simple measure is called degree centrality. Degree centrality basically counts how many direct connections a person has. Someone with thousands of followers or friends would have a high degree centrality. These individuals often play important roles in spreading information quickly. That's why marketers and advertisers pay close attention to influencers. Another measure is called closeness centrality, which looks at how quickly someone can reach other people in the network. If someone is positioned in a part of the network where information travels through them quickly, they become an efficient communicator. Then there's something called betweenness centrality, which measures how often someone acts as a bridge between different groups. Think about someone who has friends in multiple communities, maybe one group from college, another from work, and another from a hobby or volunteer organization. That person becomes a bridge connecting different social circles. And from a data analysis perspective, those bridges are incredibly interesting because they allow information to move across communities. Now here's where things get even more fascinating. Sometimes we can predict things about a person without analyzing their behavior directly. Instead, we can analyze their friends. This idea is related to something called homophily. Homophily simply means that people tend to associate with others who are similar to themselves. For example, people often share political views with their friends. They may share hobbies, professional interests, or lifestyle preferences. So if a machine learning model observes that many of your close friends share a certain characteristic, it may infer that you share it as well. This means that information about you can sometimes be predicted even if you never directly reveal it. That's a powerful and sometimes uncomfortable idea. Now let's talk about scale for a moment. Social media platforms operate on a massive scale. We're talking about billions of users around the world. Every day, these users generate enormous amounts of data. Billions of likes, billions of comments, billions of posts. From a data science perspective, this creates one of the largest behavioral datasets ever collected in human history. And when datasets become that large, machine learning models become extremely good at detecting patterns. Companies can train algorithms that analyze user behavior and then make predictions. For example, they might predict what kind of advertisements you are most likely to click on. This is what we call targeted advertising. If an algorithm believes you're interested in running or fitness, you may begin seeing advertisements for running shoes or fitness trackers. If it predicts you're planning a vacation, you might start seeing ads for travel websites or hotels. On one level, this might seem convenient, but it also raises important questions about privacy and transparency, because many users don't fully realize how much of their behavior is being analyzed. A well-known example that brought these issues into the public spotlight was the Cambridge Analytica scandal. In that case, a company collected data from millions of Facebook users. Some of the data came from individuals who voluntarily took personality quizzes. But the application also collected information about those users' friends. As a result, data from tens of millions of people was gathered, many of whom never gave explicit consent. Researchers then used that data to build psychological profiles of individuals. Those profiles were used to target political advertisements designed to influence voter behavior. This situation sparked a global debate about how social media data should be used, because it revealed how powerful behavioral data can be when combined with machine learning. Beyond targeted advertising or political campaigns, social network data also raises several broader privacy concerns. One of the biggest concerns is simply the scale of data collection. Many people underestimate how much information is stored about their online activity. Another concern is data breaches. When companies store massive datasets about users, those datasets become attractive targets for hackers. If those systems are compromised, sensitive personal information may be exposed. There's also the issue of third-party data sharing. Social media companies sometimes share user data with advertisers, research firms, or business partners. And once data spreads across multiple organizations, controlling it becomes extremely difficult. From an ethical perspective, these issues raise several important questions. Do users truly understand what happens to their data? Most privacy policies are extremely long and written in legal language. Many people simply click agree without reading them. So we have to ask whether consent is really informed consent. Another ethical issue involves transparency. Should companies be required to explain how their algorithms work? Many recommendation systems and advertising models are essentially black boxes. Users cannot see how decisions are being made. And finally, there's the issue of data ownership. You generated the data through your actions, but the platform stores it, and companies profit from it. So who truly owns that data? So what can be done to improve privacy in social networks? Well, there are several approaches. One important approach is encryption, which protects data by converting it into coded form. Another strategy is data anonymization, where identifying details are removed from datasets before analysis. Governments have also introduced stronger regulations. For example, the European Union's General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, requires companies to be more transparent about how data is collected and used. It also gives individuals the right to request that their personal data be deleted. But perhaps one of the most important solutions is education. Users need to understand how digital platforms operate. That includes learning how to manage privacy settings, recognizing data risks, and thinking critically about what information they share online. As statisticians and data scientists, we have a special responsibility in this area. Our tools are powerful. We can build models that reveal patterns in human behavior at an unprecedented scale. But with that power comes ethical responsibility. We must always ask, should we collect this data? Should we build this model? Could this analysis harm individuals or communities? Responsible data science requires more than technical skill. It requires ethical awareness. Let me leave you with one final thought. Social media has transformed the way people connect and communicate. It allows us to share ideas, build communities, and access information instantly. But it also creates a massive digital record of human behavior. And that record can reveal much more about us than we might expect. So the real challenge going forward is finding the right balance. We want to benefit from the insights that data science can provide, but we must also protect privacy, autonomy, and individual rights. That balance will shape the future of the digital world. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell to stay updated on all things data and statistics. Thanks for watching.